Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. All right. This is in response to a question. A question that was in response to something someone saw on TV. There was a title holder that talked about one of his wins, and he said that boxing, mind you. He said, "Hey, most of this training I trained once a week." And the question is, if you had to design a workout for a professional competitive fighter, I'm going to limit this to boxing, but I think this would apply equally to kickboxing. Maybe not so much to MMA, because grappling requires different muscle groups, different usages, works and stresses your body differently, and certain times you might want to do something on a certain day. All right, but let's say you're a boxer, possibly a kickboxer, and you only have one day a week to train, but you're a professional. It would be hard to get someone to agree to do this because it's so unorthodox. All right. However, I think it could be done. You need prerequisites. You need someone that's already good at boxing or kickboxing. You need this could work certainly for Olympic style karate, certainly for taekwondo. So what do you have to do? You have to get this person in. You have to cover all the skills. You have to develop all the skills, reflexes, all that. And you have to develop their stamina. I'd be most concerned about stamina if I'm only training once a week. All right, you can develop all kinds of power and strength once a week. Powerlifters and Olympic weightlifters, many of them only do their workout once a week. And they do fine. They set world records. But stamina would be the factor, right? So you need someone that has a training base, a pro athlete or a high-level amateur, Olympic level, Golden Gloves level, or something like that, who already knows what they're doing and has a support team around them. So I'm in charge of that support team, and here we go. First of all, I have that fighter wake up early in the morning, and they're going to do a relatively light cardio session for a pro. What I mean by that is it could be on a bike. It could be on go for a run. I want the run to be no longer than 2 miles tops, and I'm going to mix it up a little bit. They're going to run a little bit, they're going to sprint, they're going to walk, they're going to run faster, they're going to run slower, and do footwork drills, all right? The idea is I want to make this minimal. I want to make this the minimum that they need to get their body and their metabolism revved up in the morning, and no more than that. Then what they have to do is when they finish, I want just enough push-ups and sit-ups and crunches and things like that to get every muscle group in the body stimulated and worked out and ready for what's actually the most crucial after the run, which is an incredibly extended and thorough stretch. I want them to do a lot of yoga type stretches. I want them to possibly do some dynamic stretches, but not too much. We're trying to actually conserve energy here, all right? I don't want them burned out in the morning workout. I want them primed, ready, and most importantly, I want them thoroughly flexible and stretched out. Then what I want is a total, absolute, and complete recovery. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called biphasic or polyphasic sleep schedule, which means I'm going to want them to take a nap, a nice substantial nap in the afternoon. We could do it after they eat, before they eat. It's going to be kind of a marathon day. So what has to happen is, if their calorie count goes really high on this day, seeming excessive, it's for a good purpose. All right. So then, after the lunch, they're going to go to the gym. Now, usually it's a habit. They say, well, if the person's going to fight at nighttime, you're going to do most of your training at nighttime. But again, this is a special day. We have one day to work, and we're trying to cram the important stuff. Now, the most important part of the day is this skill workout. So we're going to head to the gym, and I'm going to want them to warm up the way that they normally warm up pre-fight, just before a fight. You know how many fighters, they get out there, they might do some jump rope, they might jog around the block, but I don't advise that because that's high impact. And certainly shadow boxing. I want them certainly to do enough rounds of shadow boxing to get their body completely, totally, and absolutely ready. I might have them do pad work, but instead of necessarily rounds of pad work, I want to work precision. I want them to work what we've been working on all week with this fighter, the combinations, the strategies, the defensive moves, okay? And then we're going to spar. So again, this is a professional fighter. They could be doing 12 rounds. I don't think we do 20 rounds anymore, but let's say that's a reality. If whatever that is, they need to at least spar that many rounds. And because this is 1 day a week, some of those rounds are actually going to be extra long. They might do a 5-minute round. They might start with 3-minute rounds, work up to 5-minute rounds, work back down to 3 minutes, maybe even 2 minutes, and then do maybe a 10-minute round. I've got to monitor this fighter. I've got to monitor his or her physical progress and capabilities and play around with it. Then when they're done, they're not done, okay? I want them to take, like 5-minute break or something, and possibly someone might be massaging them or something like that, and then I'm going to have them work on some equipment. Not necessarily a ton of equipment. It doesn't have to be even more than 3 or 4 or 5 rounds. And again, this is something they're going to have to work up to over months. If you're training once a week, I think the fight camp should be 3 months long. All right? And certainly I want them to work on the heavy bag. And the reason why I want them to work on the heavy bag is if you're sparring that many rounds only once a week, you don't necessarily want people blasting each other. I should say this about the rounds. You should try to get as many different fighters as possible. Not just fighters that closely mimic whoever that person is going to fight, but literally try to give the mind and body as much various stimulation, adaptive stimulation as possible, okay? So what's going to happen? Tall fighters, short fighters, fat fighters, thin fighters, fast ones, ones that are hard hitters, ones that throw combinations, ones that are slick, all types of fighters, all right? And even different ones on each week so that the person kind of doesn't fall into a rut. I'm trying to cause an adaptive response. So the equipment, that's the time to go heavy, all right? That's the time for them to work on. After all those rounds, now they're blasting out power shot after power shot after power shot. Now, they finish that up, all right? And what's next? That is when I'm going to try to go for the cardio. And I'm going to, again, this is probably hard to get fighters to agree to do this because this is unorthodox, but I think this is the only way to go when you have to put all your training volume for a pro fight in 1 day. And I'm going to put them in the pool. All right? And, if that means they need to take a break, again, that's fine. I don't think they really have time to eat dinner. So actually, I'd have to get a nutritionist to get some high calorie, high liquid food in them, possibly smoothies and things like that. And that's going to take at least an hour to digest before they can do physical activity. Then they go in the pool, and I'm going to have them swim laps, different types of laps, and I'm going to try to get them, some of them I want them to be timed. They're not going to, attempt to just slowly coast through all these things, but swimming will stimulate every single major muscle in the body, and there's a little bit of logic to using swimming instead of running or something else. When you're sparring, and especially when you're hitting heavy equipment, the impacts create inflammation. They create some swelling, and blood and fluids pool in certain areas. When you get in the pool, the temperature of the pool hopefully is fairly low. All right, I don't necessarily want a very warm or hot pool. And if we could get a saltwater pool, like some gyms are using, we have one here in Missouri. This is an obscure place. I'm sure there are other places that have it. You get in that pool, and it actually, anything cooler than your body temperature is going to reduce the inflammation. It's also going to recirculate the blood. You're now no longer bound by gravity. It will recirculate blood. It'll stop blood pooling, reduce swelling, and help with managing the inflammation. All right. Now, I might have them get out of the pool from time to time and kind of like do some, Marine recon or SEAL training or Air Force parajumper, pararescue training, where they're being beasted, doing, possibly bends and thrusts, squats, push-ups, crunches, leg lifts, flutter kicks, and getting back in the pool. Now, when they're done with all their laps, they take a short break, and then I'm going to have them tread water. And in the treading water, they're just treading water. It's kind of a low-intensity cool down. Then they get out of there, and they should immediately possibly get in a saltwater sauna. Again, if we have a saltwater pool and a saltwater sauna. And then possibly end with, contrast shower, like end it with a cold shower or a hot shower that turns cold. Again, to manage all that inflammation. Now, they're going to be pretty wiped out. But if you're a pro, and say you're a pro, and you don't have, you're fully pro, you don't have to go to work, you don't have to lay bricks or work in an office, well, you're going to have to use that time, not just to recover by laying in bed, because we only had that one day. First of all the sparring, all the pad work, everything should be videotaped and recorded. And now over that week, we're going to review that footage, as well as reviewing footage of the person that you're going to be fighting. Because, hey guys, this is a public area, so some students are, passing through. But as we do that, what's going to happen is I'm going to be there with him and his other coaches, and we're going to be like, hey, look at what that guy did. Notice he drops his hand here, and we're going to be coming up with strategies. Also, I am not going to count stretching and yoga as a workout. I don't count that as a workout now. Like if I get up and I do an hour of stretching and yoga, I say, well, I haven't really worked out yet. That's what I do to prepare for working out or to recover from it. For me, stretching and yoga is recovery. Okay? But we're definitely going to do that, and it's going to be more yogic than just stretching. Then, because you have so much time, we're going to do mental visualization drills. We're going to have strategy sessions. I'm going to have him stand up there, and we can slowly pantomime. This is what we're going to do. This is when he does this, right? But if, the way this question was phrased is, if you want to say I'm going to count that as a workout, then what I'll have him do is sit in his chair and pantomime the motions. All right? Or I might get two members of the team, or me and another member of the team, to pantomime and describe and have it imprinted on him visually, him or her visually. Follow me so far. And also meditation. All right? Now, if part of the requirement, this is like a midterm, if this feels like a midterm exam, what if they say, well, no, you have to include a weight regimen? Then I'm going to use something like Clarence Bass's weight regimen, where you do like a warm-up set, and then do a 1 rep max, and after that 1 rep max, you can do possibly an assisted set, and then an assisted rep and a negative rep, but all like one extended set. And I will just do one exercise per body part, and I will stick to basic compound movements like the squat, the deadlift, and the bench press. Possibly. With the swimming, you pretty much get a lot of work on the lats. And I would actually prefer not to do that with all the push-ups and everything that we did. So yeah, that's how I would tangle that question. It's not for an amateur, and I would say don't try this at home, but I think it could be done. Mind you, if you're a non-competitor, if you're a recreational martial artist, and you have this schedule where you're working a lot, and let's say you have one of those jobs where you're working really intensely, but you get 3 days off. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I would do this on Friday and do absolutely nothing Saturday and Sunday, and you'd be recovered enough, sort of, to get back to work on Monday, right? So, also, I want to bear this in mind. If an athlete says that he trained for this title fight only once a week, realize that athletes often lie or exaggerate, or their coaches in their fight camps tell them to do things to create intimidation factors, to mislead the enemy camp, the opposing camp, and misread how to train for you. That does happen. All right. I'm not saying this person lied or not. I'm saying in professional athletics, especially combat sports, is a form of war, and war is based partially on deception. Okay, so thank you very much for tuning in and listening. I hope you all have a wonderful day.